Hi everyone, this is Sharon. I'm coming back to you live from Hawaii. Just kidding. It's a Zoom background. I just got shown that there's all these nifty things that you can do in a Zoom background and you can change it and there's tons you can do. I didn't know that, so I'm just so excited. So I thought I'd try it out and do it here. Today I wanted to go over how your lyre strings correlate to the music sheets and a little bit on how to read music, just the very basic. I got a question on this, and I do have a couple of guides out on the website. And I'm just gonna go over the guide because sometimes, when you have a picture showing there, it's kind of hard to read it unless somebody shows it to you and explains it to you. So that's what I'm planning to do. So I'm just going to share my screen with you right now. This picture and the information I'm sharing with you again is in the guide, and that guide is freely available on the website. And the link is below if you wanna take a look. So let's bring that up. So here is a whole bunch of information. I personally love this because I could see exactly how the strings correlate, but it is a little bit inundating if you don't know how to read it. So I'm gonna go over it with you. Right now I'm showing a lyre that has 16 strings, and it's the left to right. So your lowest strings on the left and the high strings on your right. So that's how this lyre goes. Mine is the opposite way. So if yours is the opposite way, then you can just kind of like turn it around and you could line them up. So I have the keyboard here, the piano keyboard, just to give you an idea of where this these letters and these lines and your strings here all go up, go back up. So it's easy to read. Most music that you find nowadays are really written the same way, and you can play them all on the piano. On the piano, it's really easy for us to find where the note is because you have your landmark, your C's, and then your F's are your landmark on a piano. The C is right before the two black keys, and the F is right before the three black keys, and it just repeats. On harps, we're very fortunate and we're lucky because it's done the same way. You have the landmark as well. All of your C's are colored red, and all of your F's are colored either blue or black. Sometimes there's a different color out there, but most most harps have C and F colored. On the lyres, because they are all wire strings, we don't have that advantage. So on my lyre, and I think I've said this before, I went ahead and painted the tips of my tuning pins with red for the C and blue for the F, and I went ahead and did the same for about an inch down on the strings. To me, that made it easier because now I also have a landmark on my lyre. So that's totally optional. You don't have to do that. Your lyre also some of them comes with the note names engraved right in them. Some do not, but they do give you those sticky round things with either the notes printed on them already, or you could write them on. And they have a numbering system as well, which I personally don't like. But that's really a preference. I can read music, so I prefer to read music. But if you don't know how to read music, then the tab way of playing might be better for you. So I'm just going to go over the very basic. As you can see, your C note right here will relate. That's your middle C, and it goes up to the middle C on the piano. And on the key, you will see on the staff, you can see where they land right there. And your F, that's the same thing. Your F is right here. That's your middle F, and it goes up to the middle F on the piano and the middle F on your left. So I'm gonna stop sharing this one and I'll pull up the other the other sheet that I have. How to read music. Okay, it's really basic. What you first thing there's three things that you really need to know. You need to know the staff, the clef, and the notes. The staff are the lines that you see. There's 5 lines and 4 spaces. That's where all the notes land. That is where your landmark. It shows you where the name of the keys once they land there. So that's very important. The staff, both the clef, the G clef or the treble clef, and the F clef or the bass clef has a staff to them. So we'll go down to the treble clef. This is your treble clef, also called the G clef. It's called the G clef because this one here looks like a G, and if you notice, this circly thing here hugs the G line. That's your G line right there. The second line is your G line, and it hugs the G line. That's how it got the G clef name. So for your staff, the treble clef is usually where you will find the melody notes. So most of the music that we would play on the lyre would be melodic. So that's where we would put it. That's where you would see it, and then you would add the harmony. The treble clef, like I said, with the landmark that we have on the piano and the landmark that we have on the harp, we have the C and the F. That is also a good way for you to learn to read the music because the landmark really helps you define. It simplifies reading the music. If you know where C is, then you would automatically know where the D and the E is, and if you know where the F is, it's easier to know that G, A, and B comes right after it, and then it starts all over again. The musical alphabet, I'm going ahead of myself because I can see the notes right here already. So I don't want to do that. That's the notes. We're going to go down to the bass clef. The bass clef is right here. Bass clef is usually where we will find the harmony. Sometimes we borrow notes from the bass clef to play the melody. So it can also play the melody. Um, the one really neat thing about the bass clef is you could see where the F is. These 2 dots here hugs the F. The same way that if you all go on a treble clef or the G clef, you will see that there's something there that's highlighting where the G is. In the bass clef, there's also a landmark here where it's highlighting the F. So right there is the F note. That's why sometimes people call this the F clef, but it's also called the bass clef. A lot of the lower note music like cello, bassoon, and tuba, you will find the music for them really written on the bass clef, or as instruments like the violin, the flute, you will find music for them written on the treble clef because they are higher note sounding instruments. We'll go down, and the most important part is the notes. We're going to go up here for a bit because right here, um, the, the key thing that you need to know about reading the notes is that we do have a musical alphabet. A musical alphabet starts with a C, the middle C, and it goes down C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Now, if that's too hard to remember, you could also start with A. So you go A, B, C, D, F, G. That's it. We don't have the whole, however notes it is, however many letters it is on the English alphabet, or the French alphabet. I don't know. um, there's different numbers depending on the alphabet you have from where you're from. But in the English alphabet, we start with A, B, C, D, F, G, and it goes higher up. But with the musical alphabet, we only go up to G, and then we start all over again. So it's really easy because there's not that much to remember. Where they land on the scale, on the staff, the treble clef, or the bass clef, really determines on what scale they are at. So they will change in position, but the name of the notes remain the same thing. So if you look in here, the middle C right there is at the bottom and it's on a line, But when you get up to the top on the higher register C, C5, you will see that now it's on a space, and then you go back up again, and now on C6, now it's back on the line. So they change where they are, but the notes remain the same. So it's possible for you to have on most of the modern lyres, you have two C's. You usually have the middle C and the high C. Some go up to the third C here. Mine does because I have a 19 string lines lyre. On my other one, I only get the two C's, the middle C and the high C. I don't get this one here, but some do. Some go higher. The bass clef, you start with the lowest C right here, then another low C here, and then it goes up to the middle C. Most of the lyres nowadays on a 16 string lyre, you either start with an F or a G depending on the maker of lyre. So um, your range becomes from either from F to G, and it goes all the way. Sorry, here with the bass clef from F to G, and then you will go all the way up to however many strings your lyre is. So on my lyre, I believe I come from G all the way up to C here because I have a 19 string lyre, and my other one, I can't remember how it starts. Yeah, it starts with a G. I start with a G, and it goes all the way up to A. This A right here is where I land. So, and the number of strings that you have on your lyre will really determine how much music you can play, because music is written in different ways. So if you have notes on a music that you're playing and they're outside of your range, um, you can't really play them unless you want to change the music up and um, do a little bit of improvisation to bring that section of the notes um, within your range. So again, the notes are in alphabetical. Where they land shows you which notes to play. I have put the names of the spaces and the names of the lines right here, so it's easy to kind of have a read. The space is F, and again, you can see here that's your G. Keep in mind your landmark right here. It makes it easier to read. So that's your G because it's right on that same line where the G clef is hugging it. Learning to read music is like learning a new language. It doesn't come easy to some. Um, for some people, learning a new language is a skill that they're good at, and some people it's not. So it does take time. No matter if you're really good at learning a new language or if you're bad at learning a new language, it will still take you time. So be patient with yourself. On the lyre specifically, we don't need to learn so much of it, so many of it, because you do have a specific range. So if you just learn the notes on your specific range, that's enough because that's all you're gonna need. So you don't need to have music theory, so high up because you probably won't need it. You probably are never gonna use it. So be patient with yourself. Start small, start simple, start with the things that you need. Because just like in learning a new language, you just really need the basic to converse day to day with the people. You don't need, the deep words in that language. You just need to be able to converse and express yourself. And that's the same with music. With the lyre, it's much easier because we are restricted to that range. But it is enough for us to express ourselves. It's enough for us to create beautiful music, and it's a good thing that we're on a specific range because it will make our learning a lot more simpler for us and a lot more concise. On this one here, I'm just showing you where the notes to play. This is your G notes because they landed on the G line. This is your A note because it landed on the space that is named A. This is your B note because it landed on the B line. So it doesn't matter if you have a half note, a whole note, a quarter note, an eighth note. If they land on the line or the spaces, um, if you have a whole note on that landed on this line here, the second line, it will be a G, no matter what note it is. If it's, like I said, if it's an eighth, a quarter, a whole note, a half note, if it lands on this line, it will always be a G. Um, the um, the the difference would be how long do you hold that tone, and that goes into rhythm, which is not a part of this tutorial. So learning to read music is, again, be patient with yourself. It's not easy, but it is so worth it. It's so much more worth it. I know a lot of people prefer to play tabs and play by number because they think it's easier, but in the long run, you're very restricted in what you can play. If you take the time to learn the music, to learn how to read the basic music, and again, keep it in the range of your lyre if that's, if you want to learn it fast, it is so much easier because now you can, if you learn it, you can open to any book, any music book, any lead sheet, and you could play it. You would, because you can read it. It's like reading a book. Once you learn to read those few words that you need, you can learn. You can read whatever next book is given to you. It doesn't matter if it's a novel. It doesn't matter if it's fiction or non-fiction, because you can read, you can understand it, and you can express it. And that's what reading music is all about. Understanding what you see on the pages and then expressing it. And I highly recommend learning to read music. There is a lot of tutorials out there specifically, and it goes in much more in depth than what I'm doing here, because I really wanted to just give you an overview and an encouragement to let you know that you can do this. It does take time, but be patient and keep going. We can start with a simple tune. I have Twinkle Twinkle Little Star in one of my guides, and it's a very easy tune. Everyone knows it. You start with that. You read the notes, and like everything, the more you read, the better you get at it, because the more you will recognize, and the more it will be in your mind. So the more you do a thing, the more muscle memory is there. Like, next thing you know, you're gonna look at a sheet of music and just go, yeah, no, that's a G, that's an A, that's a B, that's a D. Because you don't have to read it note for note. You could just take a look and read the sentence. Just like with reading, the first thing you do is learn your alphabet. Once you learn your alphabet, you learn one word, and then another word, and then another word. And next thing you know, you can look at a page and you can read the full sentence. And that's where you need to be at. And it's very basic, it's very simple. I encourage you to do it. Um, there's lots of in-depth tutorial in YouTube, and you can Google it. Lots of it comes out. So I don't want to do that here and waste your time, and recreate something that people have done. So many people have done it, and they do such an incredible job of teaching the basic of reading the notes. But do take the time to do it, because it's a very rewarding thing. It's a skill that will reward you for a life. So that's my encouragement to you. I hope that this tutorial has been useful to you, just to see how the strings on your note correlate to the music that you see, and where they are in relation to even a keyboard. Because a lot of us that are taking the lyre play the keyboard, we play the piano. So if we could kind of see that flow, sometimes just triggering that flow opens it for us, and we can say, yep, I understand. So again, I encourage you, happy playing. I hope this is useful to you. If you like this video, please comment below, subscribe, like, and give me your feedback. Please give me your comment. I'm new to this, and I'm preparing. I'm trying to do as much resources as I can for beginner liars out there. So anything you can do to help me, I do appreciate it. Um, Thank you again, and stay.